Hi, welcome everyone to another event of Ladies at UX in English. Before we start our panel, we would like to introduce Ladies at UX and the amazing leaders that are part of the organization of this event today. Today, we have a cross-collaboration among the chapters of Milan, Stockholm, and Lisbon, and this conversation will be moderated by Isabel from Ladies at UX Lisbon. So don't forget to ask questions, and we'll be selecting some of them to be answered live by our special guest today. Before we start, I also would like to announce that this event is sponsored by Sketch, and by the end of this event, we're going to give away 2 Sketch licenses. So to win a Sketch license, please fill the form that I'm going to write right away the link to apply. And stay tuned that we're going to raffle the licenses by the end of our event. We also want to remind you that this event is recorded and it will be here if you miss it, so don't worry. If you miss a part of it, you can watch it later again. And don't forget to subscribe, okay? Please write on the comments where you're watching us from. I'm going to start a quick presentation of Ladies at UX. So, Ladies at UX is a global, informal, and friendly community that supports women that work with the UX and in tech. And now we are present in more than 85 cities around the world. And this community was born in 2013. So our focus is to create a safe environment for women to share, to do networking. And so it's amazing. And we are all part of this community here. We are around 87 chapters around the world, 26 in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, which are part of our chapters today are from. And I would like to introduce myself. I'm Mariana Zaki. I'm Service Interaction Designer. I'm one of the chapter leads of Ladies at UX here in Milan, also Regional Director for EMEA of Ladies at UX. So if you're interested in opening a chapter in Europe, Middle East, or Africa, please let me know. You can find me on LinkedIn. I would like also to describe myself for accessibility purposes. I'm an Asian woman with medium length hair. I'm using a brown dress with black stripes, using also earphones and a necklace. And my pronouns are she and her. Laura couldn't join us tonight, but she's also the other chapter leading this chapter with me. And then I would like to introduce also the chapter of Stockholm.
Hello, good night.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Luciana. I am one of the chapter leaders here in Stockholm. Describing myself, I am a woman with dark brown hair. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm wearing a striped t-shirt.
Great, I guess I can present myself as well. Hello everyone, I am Milena Bozek. I am a product designer here in Stockholm, helping the chapter as well. I am a woman, blonde hair. I am wearing a t-shirt, dark, and I am with my background in my room. I use the pronouns she and her, and welcome everyone.
We also have another volunteer that is not together with us today, but it's Thais Santos. She's our UX designer and a master's student at KH8.
Hi everyone, I'm Isabel Machado. I'm working as a user centricity lead, and Carolina and Sofia couldn't join here behind the camera, but they are joining from the audience. Both are UX and UI designers and also volunteering for Ladies at UX at Lisbon. And let's do this. I was hoping that, but I guess all the countries have already been presented. So let's start here the Service Design Day party. Mariana, I was still expecting for Milan to be introduced, but I guess I I passed that part.
Yes.
I was confused on the sequence. But today
No,
is a
don't worry.
Service Design Day, so it's a party day, and we are here to celebrate this special day. And in these panels, we are going to learn a lot from very inspiring service designers across different countries and sectors, and how they work and what's the impact on creating new services and experiences. We would like to call our guests and ask them to introduce themselves. Mariana, I don't know if you want to add something to call our guests to the stage.
Yeah, they are arriving to our studio. Daina, Martina, Laura, Tina. There are some
Welcome,
people
everyone.
also coming, and then we're going to add everyone here. Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm gonna be on the backstage, and let's wait for the other guests to start coming. Thank you so much for being here, and happy Service Design Day, everyone. Now Isabel's going to moderate the conversation. Thank you. See you by the end of the event. Bye bye.
Thank you, Mariana. And I guess while the rest is still joining us, okay, we have here Luisa. In the meanwhile, maybe we can start the introductions if you agree. Who wants to kickstart the introductions?
I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
So hello, I'm so happy to be here. My name is Daina. I am working as a service designer at Swedish tax agency here in Stockholm. I am a woman with light brown hair. I'm wearing a green dress with a turtle neck. Yes. Hello.
Thank you. Can you please pass the ball and everyone?
Yeah, Martina.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm Martina Rossi. I live in Milan, and I'm a service designer and a researcher at the Politecnico di Milano, the design department. I'm also teaching there and also working as a freelance consultant, also co-organizing Service Design Drinks Milan. I'm a girl with light brown hair and green eyes. I have behind me some books, some colored books, and I'm wearing a colored t-shirt as well. And I'm joining today from Matera, which is in the south of Italy, and my pronouns are she and her. Thank you. I pass the ball to Claudia.
Hi all. Do you listen to me? Okay. I am a service designer as well. I work in the public sector. I am a Caucasian blonde girl with blue eyes. I'm wearing a white shirt and red lipstick. I'm based in Milan, but also I'm actually from Sicily. And I am in a co-working, so I'm sorry if you will hear some noise in the background. I'm also a mom of two, and my pronouns are she, her. Thank you. And I will pass to, I don't know who didn't talk, but Luisa.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Well, I'm a UX and service designer. I'm based in Lisbon, Portugal, but I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I work mainly to the banking sector in an IT company. And I'm also one of the leaders of the Service Design Network, Portugal. About me, I have brown hair. I'm wearing like a pinky shirt, and I'm in a balcony with plenty of light and windows. And I think that's it. I'm calling Tina.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me. So I'm a service designer based in Helsinki, Finland. And I'm a service designer in city of Helsinki, so in public sector and actually in the social services and healthcare sector there. And I'm a white woman. I have a light brown hair, green eyes. I'm wearing a pink shirt and my pronouns are she, her. And I'm passing the ball to Laura.
Kiitos, Tina. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us today. I'm so excited. I'm Laura. I'm originally from Barcelona, living in Lisbon. With Luisa and Mauro, we are the SDM Portugal chapter. I'm a co-founder, and also I am the founder and chief circular officer at the Piece of Lemon Cake, which is a very small startup that tackles climate change at scale. Describing myself, I'm very tiny, but you don't see that on the screen. I have dark brown hair. I'm a white woman, and I'm dressing. It's a very colorful dress. It kind of looks like a fireworks. And behind me, there is just a white board whatsoever. My pronouns is she and her. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you all for accepting the invitation and to being here representing this very special day. And I forgot to define and to present myself for accessibility purposes, so I'm very sorry for that. And I will just add that I'm with a blushy face, wearing glasses, and possibly very frequently a smile in my face. And let's now start to understand. How did you all start working with service design? Maybe starting with Martina. Do you want to let us know how this started for you?
So I started because basically I studied in Milan in a master degree that is called Product Service System Design. But I chose it. I have to admit, I chose it randomly, kind of, because I studied communication design first, and then I was very curious to try something else. And this master degree, which is now very, very popular, at that time was just starting. But they had a mix of Italian and foreign students from abroad. So they are half and half, and it's still like that. And I was interested to get to know people from everywhere in the world and have the possibility to go somewhere else and do an exchange program. So everything was very, very exciting for me. And so I started. But at that time in Milan, at least, it was not that mature, the world of service design. Then when I was about to graduate, I was looking for a job, a very stable job. So I started to work for a big telco company. And there I was not doing service design. I thought I were about to do service design, but I was doing project management, basically. And I did that for 2 years. Then I went on looking around, start to understand what I could do differently. And then I had the opportunity to come back to university doing a PhD. And so together with the PhD, I started also to work as a consultant. And there I understood what was really service design. Started to work with the public administration, with the citizens, but also with the private organization. And it started to me like by chance, kind of, but then I understood it was my passion, and therefore I started to organize the service design drinks together with Claudia and other guys. Very, very simple story, I think.
Interesting that you mentioned that at some point you actually understand what is this supposed to be, right?
Not at the university, actually.
Yeah. Tina, do you want to share maybe some Nordic point of view of another reality?
My story in service design is not that long yet as Martina's because I'm quite new to the field. I actually graduated last year. So I've been working in the field of service design for 2 years, and I actually graduated from the business school, where I kind of like was looking for my passion and interest, and I stumbled across a minor in service design, and I was immediately hooked about it. I thought it sounded very interesting, very topical in this time and state of the world, and so I started applying for jobs in service design and ended up here in city of Helsinki. And now I've been here for 2 years working in city of Helsinki as a service designer. So that was my start in this field.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else has a special feeling about starting working with service design that wants to share?
I can jump on this because maybe my background is quite strange or interesting. I hold a background in a master's in agricultural engineering, and I did that because I wanted to be an anthropologist, but I didn't believe that I would be a good professor. So in my family, they wanted to be only engineers. So I found out that agricultural engineering has a very strong body of rural anthropology. So that's why when I came into something that makes all the sense to me, that is working with people, understanding their needs. And from there, I started finding out participatory approaches, which were developed by the United Nations. And step by step, I get into what it is service design. Before that, I did studies anthropology at Stanford, but then I moved to Finland to do an MBA in service innovation and design. For me, understanding what service design, differently to Martina, it was really something that I really learned by doing a lot at work with citizens, with farmers. But then I really solidified the concepts with the MBA, which I did recently. Well, not so recently, 3 years ago. So it's a different pathway, if you will.
And time flies, right? And actually, I do know that the Service Design Network here in Lisbon did an amazing research recently. And I would like to ask you, Laura and Luisa, to share some of the insights that you might have in terms of what's your perception of the maturity level in Lisbon, in Portugal, about service design, and what would you like to share in this maturity assessment?
Okay, maybe I can share my screen.
Yes, you can.
Let me know. Okay. Don't show the steps again. Share screen. This one. Let me know when you're able to see a fantastic dashboard.
We can.
Okay, awesome. So this is the work that we have been working a lot as a chapter. As you know, ladies, this is a pro bono work, so we are not entirely dedicated to this, but nevertheless, we do our work with quality. And this is, before answering your question, Isabel, this is a Power BI. I don't know if you are, you know, this application is for business intelligence. As you can see here, there is 6 dashboards. This is the introduction. Everything's in Portuguese, but we are translating this into English. Regarding the maturity index, each dashboard has a different purpose, but the maturity index is here. Let me walk you through very quickly. And pretty much we asked in our survey, what is the perception? What is the maturity level they attribute to the Portuguese market? And as you can see here, the average is 432. So it's very, very low on a scale that goes from 0 to 10.
And you had almost 200 answers, right?
166. You can see it here on the left-hand side next to the title.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So yeah, it is low. And the reasons are here below. The main one, the one that bubbles up, is there is not clarity what service design is. But also is, and that goes as well with the second because they have the equal weight. That design is not perceived as to be strategic. And that comes because in Portugal there is a lot of there's a good community of designers, but most of the designers that were in Portugal they start with UX, and unfortunately the people that work in the UX they don't get to the strategic and the board of C-level, so they think that design is just building good applications that work, that are intuitive, that make sense for the customer, but the strategic decision level, it's not that something that gets into the C-level head, if so to say. And then the other component is how traditional is the Portuguese culture. So there's another roadblock that we have, and that is the reason why of this maturity level. Luisa.
Well, yes, it's worth to say that this is those questions were about like the perception of the professionals over the market. Okay, so it's not like it's really the perception, and here we are considering also the students and people who intend to go to work as service designers. So yes, this is the perception. And I think Laura said everything. I mean, mainly this lack of the content of service design, what the service designers really do, right? I think this is our main insight in here.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I do think it's very interesting insights. And although it's perception, it's a big sample, and it's a very clear perception of the understanding, right? And maybe Dina, do you want to share the Stockholm reality?
Yeah, of course. I think it's very different from organization to organization. So now I'm working at Swedish tax agency. Before that, I used to be a consultant. So I worked in different companies, and it just varied. But I think it's really interesting to see those insights you found that, for example, that there is some misconceptions about, for example, that it's enough to design good applications rather than thinking like designing good systems. So I think we are still there as well in most of the cases, or at least what I've seen, that there's a lot of misconceptions about service design. So maybe we're doing some of it, but we're not doing it all the way. And I think that's because of the complexity. So if you think about big organizations like government and governmental agencies, you have so much to do to understand the back and the complexity. Like, so what's the technical possibilities we have? How is the journeys today? Like, how is the user interacting? How many different actors? And even though you have a good picture, it's still a lot of difficulties to actually make it happen, because this single journey depends on 100 parts of our organization. So it's hard to answer this question, but I think where I'm now, maybe it's 6. If you think about scale from 1 to 10, where I was before, maybe would be like 3 or something, or less. That where we think about design as something that users sees, but not something that user experiences. You make a nice application, nice looking apps, and you think like user is gonna love it, but then users actually end up having problems outside this channel, because there is something happening before you get in the app and after, and so on. So yeah.
Isabel, can I complement?
Yeah. Of course.
Okay, thank you. Because regarding what you're saying, the maturity level, Dana, actually we are, the Service Design Network Portugal is launching this survey globally. And in fact, the US have done their work inspired by our own work. So we will have this maturity level that would allow us to benchmark the different countries. That is the beauty, because only us, okay, it's good. But it really gets a sense and value when you can compare with other countries. So that's why we are translating now as we speak the dashboard, so others can learn from Portugal. But also we are creating a very lean survey that could be shared with all the chapters, so we can learn from everybody together. And another component interesting to share is that even though the maturity level in Portugal is 4.32, which is really low, what's surprising to see that nevertheless, cyber design is visible and active in different industries. It wasn't one or two, it was more than 10 different industries that they are hiring cyber designers, but also they are doing projects for a variety of sectors. And that is something that is kind of surprising in a way, because it seems like it's counterintuitive, but nevertheless, it is what it is, our reality. So it's interesting to explore and learn. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Super interesting and good to know that we are doing that wide approach. Okay. In terms of the big challenges, let's move on to the next question here. And I would invite Claudia maybe to answer, like, what would you say for you, in your opinion, what's the biggest challenges in working with service design?
Okay, I will say that the biggest challenge, but also the biggest opportunity, is to work with people. Because I think that people are the most complex systems that we can manage. More complex than technology, I think. Because the fact is that we need always to be user advocate in the projects, but without being arrogant or pretend that we know all the truth. So it's actually really, really important to manage yourself as a professional, and to stick yourself from the fact you are a human being, but bring all the people there in the project itself. Yes, I think this is the most because people are emotions, people are thoughts, so we need always to not to be arrogant and bring all the different point of view in the job. Yeah.
A perfect mediator, right?
Yeah, exactly. You need to be a perfect mediator, and it's really hard. I think is the biggest challenge itself. Yeah.
Someone wants to add something on top of what Claudia already shared? Another point of view?
I would like to say something. I really agree with Claudia. We are also friends, so I think we have kind of a similar view on this. But I do agree that the most difficult thing to do, and like the biggest challenge, is to work with people. So to understand also people as users, because you can try to think about what they would do interacting with the service you are designing, but there is always a percentage of unpredictability that you cannot design. Actually, you cannot design behaviors completely, and so this I think is the biggest challenge. And also related with the work I'm doing within organization, I'm trying to lead some change projects within organizations, and it's very difficult to work with cultural culture within organization, also external to organization, but working with culture, working with people, and mediate what people would do and how they would interact with each other is the most difficult thing. And service design has very much to do with people behaviors, I think.
Yeah. Dinah, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I think it's very good, the topic you brought up, and I think it's a lot about people, it's a lot about culture. Because, I mean, the management can make such a good plans, like in 5 years we are there. But it doesn't work like that, because the culture won't change overnight. You can introduce the best methods ever. But as people been working maybe in the same organization for 20 years in the same way, and suddenly you're giving something else, we don't like change. Even sometimes we wouldn't like to agree that, right? No, we're super flexible. No, people hate change, and I think that's the thing. It's a natural phenomenon. It's something not like non-industry could change, like, or no person. It's about like coaching, it's about talking, spreading. That's what it's about till you get where you get. And sometimes it might take you years. And I think that there is that documented usable UX maturity stairs where you can see like different stairs and maturity where you go. And I think every step, maybe there's like 6 or 7 steps, and every step takes like 2 and 5 years. That explains a bit how long it takes, and we have to be very patient with that. Thank you.
Can I compliment?
Yes, you can.
This is it's so interesting question. I mean, and I love in all the contributions. To me, the main challenge is the cliches that are associated with service design. So you should be doing a customer journey map. In the workshop, we should be doing all of post-its and everything will be done. There's no research need to be done because the workshop is everything. And I think that is related with our maturity level in Portugal, and the main reason there is no clarity what service design is, because I guess the C-level have heard of service design and something post-its, and then they don't realize the work that really entails. So they get kind of confused. Oh my goodness, it's kind of work the talk is hard at times, and here comes what Dana was saying about change and culture and all the things, right? We need to bring some transparency of what service design really is, and once they learn that, we can get started with our work. So
I completely agree with Laura. I think, like, I mean, maybe because we are in the same market, in the institute market in Portugal, we are a step back. We don't even have the research. we don't even have the people problem yet. I think I think there is a problem before. There is related to the maturity level, as Laura just said. That is, what is service design? So in order to change the culture, in order to change the practices, I think people need to understand what service design is, what's the ROI, the return of investment is. What is the value of service design? So to me, I think that many times the client or the manager, I don't know, whoever, wants to play the buzz of the service design, but they don't give you the time and the space to go throughout the process, to do the research, to go to the people. They just want the magic result of it. I don't know. So I completely agree with Laura.
I'm glad you both spoke as well, because it's a very challenging question, the question of the recognition and the real understanding of the process and how things should start with going to the people and doing the research to begin with, and only after that go to the workshop and use the post-its. Maybe it will be more productive and really fundamental. But in terms of since we were here talking a little bit of the process and the research that requires a proper service design process, who wants to share about the process, or like in a synthesized way? Maybe Tina, since you still have a very academic, fresh also, and the practice.
Yes. Yes, I can share about my process. So I think my process pretty much follows the traditional double diamond, which is the core of the service design. And basically, I always start with that I understand the problem properly. That's the most important part of the process, in my opinion. I need to understand the problem first, and then I dive into it by doing a lot of research and that kind of stuff, qualitative research especially, and gathering insights from that research and then visualizing and prototyping that. So it's kind of like follows the double diamond, and I think that's the core of my process. But I think also for a service designer, especially maybe in public sector, you can't always follow the process so precisely. You need to also add your own twist to it and kind of think about what are parts of the process are the most important to keep, and what are those things that can be maybe adjusted to the environment that you work in.
You do it collaboratively normally?
Yes, a big part of it is to collaborate with the customers, the end customers, and also as in social and healthcare sector with the social and healthcare professionals. That's a big part of my job. I get the insights from them, what I should ask the customers. They know the customers best, and they know what kind of challenges they might face if I need to, like, for example, make the materials more accessible. They know what kind of things I need to consider with this customer group, for example. So
Okay.
it's very much a collaborative process, but maybe as a service designer, one needs to be like the maybe a project manager or like the facilitator of all of the things. I don't know what word you could use for it, but kind of lead the way of the process.
Human management again, right?
Yeah.
Claudia, do you want to share some thoughts on the process?
I actually don't have one specific one, and I don't like that much processes because I think it's more important to be ready to change or be resilient instead of just sticking to the process itself. But from another point of view, I agree with what Tina was saying. Part of my job is also to give public administration some design culture background. So also about the design process. And in doing so, we need to be very academic, very like straight into the process. But from the other point of view, when we try to pass this skill set about design thinking, service design, and process and projects, we also always say that the most important thing is to have consider the user, because especially in public administration, they always forget about it. They yeah. And also I have a past background in private sector, and in the public sector, I think, yes, one of the most important thing is accessibility. So all the things we do, they need to be accessible for everybody. So we really need always to like pass through the process of accessibility.
I
That's
could
my
like,
point of view.
sorry. I was thinking that I don't really agree with that what you say in the beginning, but probably because I feel like I have my process, but it's not at all that, I mean, you have like a certain methods you always have to follow, like not at all, like no, you don't have to do user journeys or personas all the time. That doesn't matter. But I think in my head I always had this process like, okay, so who are involved? Like, okay, let's just draw who's involved in this. And then people like, no, but we know who is involved. Like, okay, but I don't know who's in all this project. So please just like write it down. And then where we already see that people have different pictures who should be involved. And then the next step is like, okay, why are we doing it, for whom? So defining like, okay, what's the goal? What is the main user groups? And so on. So kind of building the impact mapping. If you maybe some of you are aware of this method, so we like define what we're doing and for whom, and then later on we do the insights, insight work, and then we do the like, okay, what would be the solution? So I think I kind of, in my head at least, have this always, but I think I always work with big organizations, and that's where it's important to understand like the big picture. Okay, so which kind of departments are we involving, like who should know about this to kind of feel like they are part of this. So, but that's like, and then of course as Tina talked about, then of course there's like a design process when you're actually working with the actual thing. But there's a lot of things in between that I always think that should be in a place before you can actually start with service design, like a real service design process. Thank you.
Thank you. Martina, would you like to share some thoughts as well?
Yes, I would like to share, because maybe I'm one of the academic here. So I have something to say about the process. I kind of agree also with Claudia that it's not always about the process. You cannot, even for the process, you cannot always apply the same. But in our lab, in the university, we are also trying to formalize the process in a way and give our interpretation to the double diamond, which is also our starting point. What we added in the last work we have done is, for example, adding half of a diamond before the first diamond related with problem, because we understood that there is a lot of effort to put in scoping. We call this half diamond the scoping phase, which some usually have to do with talking with, for example, the top management of a big organization, or with key stakeholders in general for a project, to understand the strategic view they have on the project, and then starting the research and then going on with the 2 diamonds. And then we think also that the double diamond should continue, let's say, with the adoption phase. Since we are working a lot with the organization and organizational change, like what we were saying before, trying to introduce a transformation that implies also cultural transformation needs to be accompanied throughout the process. So we think that after developing the solution, there is something to be done as a follow-up in order to support people to adopt the solution, or support to approach the change, let's say. And also, last thing is about a limitation that we see in the double diamond, which is the lack of cyclicity, let's say, the cyclic side of the double diamond, because double diamond seems to be like a linear process that when you come at the solution, that's it. Instead, we always ask ourselves if we are solving the right problem, and if not, reframe the problem and come back. There are other frameworks that highlight this kind of cyclic process, but it's just maybe a visualization thing.
In order to be a bit less square and more circular to the iterative phases, right? With going back and forth all the time. But I guess Laura wants to share some thoughts as well.
Yes, thank you. I will be the pragmatic one. So if I have to share a method, the method I always use is the one from the Stanford School, the D School. But it's just another version of the double diamond. I mean, it's everything is the same. And I would like to share with you, when it comes to process, what defines my process is the problem and the people I need to work with to sort that out. That defines my process. And particularly now that I'm a startup with a piece of lemon cake, and as you know, startups need to fail fast, need to validate their ideas fast. So my process is very varied. At times it's creating an MVP, at times it's publishing a marketing campaign. So I get understanding of traction and understanding of concerns that I want to validate. At times it's so many different things. So this is what I want to tell you, because when I started as a service designer, I was so concerned that, oh my God, I need to do a customer journey map. Oh my God, I need to understand the jargon. Oh my God, I need to do personas. No, you need to understand what the problem is, and then understand what is the process I need to apply to empathize with my people, my stakeholders, my end users, and how do I build trust? Because if you don't build trust, you will not get to know what the real problem is. So I hope that helps you.
Pragmatic, but yeah, I would follow that lead as well. I guess we are all very much aligned with some twists here and there, but it's very similar approaches, I would say. And by the way, I was thinking about, you were mentioning the startup, and how was it and how is it, how it still is, to work with service design in pandemic times? Do you feel that affects and turns does it has more difficulties or opportunities? I would launch this question to you, Laura, and then I'll open to who else wants to answer as well.
Sure, thank you. So let me share with you a secret. Luisa and myself, we were working in the Service Design Network chapter, the Portuguese chapter, for a year, and we never met. We just met after a year. And as surprising as that, it was just the same. I have to say that the first year of the pandemic, it was easier to work with people. They were more open to explore new things. Now it seems that people are a bit tired to be on screen, to do workshops. So now it seems harder. And I think that now we need to be more creative and not to think of, okay, we now are going to hold a Zoom meeting with a Moodle, because people they are too tired for that. We need to think other things. Even if that includes going to the Google Doc or the Google Slides, or think of exercises or games that you do asynchronous, something at yourself, something with the team, maybe do recordings, maybe doing videos of yourself, kind of making it playful. But now I think that is harder than the first year of the pandemics. I don't know what you think, ladies.
I was going to share exactly that. It was super interesting that you shared the first pandemic phase and the second, because I can really relate to that feeling. At the beginning, okay, super enthusiastic, and it's just a more dynamic way to approach my work. And now super Zoom fatigued, and please give me alternatives and walk the talks, and let's do meetings while walking, or anything to make me stretch my back sometimes. Who wants to share some thoughts on this as well?
I could share my thoughts on this. For me, like usually, very big part of my work is facilitating workshops, and facilitating workshops for customer groups that are fragile. For example, disabled people, homeless people, people with abuse problems, or anything like that, elderly, and all of that. There hasn't been any possibilities for this during the pandemic, because those groups are also very much shielded during this pandemic, so they don't have any events at all. And that has led that all of my like customer faced interaction has been surveys or interviews remotely. And I think that has affected my work, and hasn't been that easy always, but it has also brought some like new challenges that I have had to face, and come up with some ideas to tackle those. And for example, doing surveys has been a good way of getting the customer viewpoint. And also I interviewed some severely sick people via Teams, and that actually worked quite well. So, but it has been a challenge, I think, and weird, because usually as a service designer, you're a lot of live meetings with people, and now none of that. So it has been a quite weird time.
But it's funny to go back to what Laura was saying just a minute ago, that she and Luisa, while both coordinating the Service Design Network, never met, and that didn't affect the empathy that they had, and the productivity that they managed to accomplish, right?
Yes, there was a difference though, because we both thought that we were tall, and when we met, we were like, "Oh, you're short. Oh, you too." Okay, so that was the only difference.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, who wants to share some tips in terms of people wanting to join service design and having in that state of mind of giving the leap from one area to this area? What would be the tips that you would provide to them? Claudia, do you want to share?
Tips for joining service design, I think passion, really, about working with people, and as well, I think I don't know. Actually, as Martina was saying, when I was in the university, I was also kind of confused of what service design could actually bring. From my point of view, I was my libido about product, so I was not in designing products. I was preferring to connect things, so create ecosystem of products instead of do shapes. So I think that everyone that is more interested in the interaction between people and interaction between people and technology should go for service design or interaction design or user experience that are actually very, very narrow kind of materials. So, Marti?
Okay. Martina?
Yes, I mean, my simple advice to people who wants to work with service design is to try out different workplaces, because I think being a service designer really changes if you work for a company or if you work for an agency or if you work for the public administration, if you work as a researcher, as a consultant. It could be a really different job. Actually totally different. So for me it was very revealing when I realized there was another way to do service design. So coming back to my own experience, when I started working for the company, I was really disappointed by the work I was doing, but then I discovered that there are many ways of doing service design. So but someone else can enjoy doing the corporate job. So my advice would be, at the beginning, try different things, because you could not know what would be your passion and like the job you would like to do, because it could be really, really different. And then if I can add maybe more like a pragmatic skill to learn, since in my experience, I really work as facilitator a lot. But at the beginning, I felt not to have the right competencies, like the hard competencies in being a mediator, a facilitator. So I suggest either educators around the world, but also like students or people who want to work with service design, to learn a bit about facilitation and about understanding human interaction and a bit more about human sciences, which I learned like during the job, but I was not prepared at the beginning.
I would totally agree with the facilitator tip, because that's a hell of a ride sometimes as well, to facilitate and to put the minds aligned in around a problem, an ideation, a solution, and all the process. I would say it's part of the job, that management of the humans again involved in the process. And I believe someone, Louisa, you would like to share some thoughts as well on this?
Yes. Well, I think a lot of people who wants to work as service designers are coming from another fields, like from engineering to legal areas. I don't know. And I think service design to me is mainly the mindset. So my suggestion is to understand what design is, first of all. You know, you can study by yourself, you can read books. We don't have a very structured content. You know, it's not very something very bureaucratic. I don't know. But to me, like I'm one of those people, because I have industrial design background, and I came from Brazil to Portugal during this change, this professional change. And to me, it was very helpful to work with design thinking to understand my paths. So I use the design thinking methods to build my own experience, you know. So maybe it's a tip to look inside and discover your process, know where you want to go to, and then starts understanding what the design mindset is, where can you start, who you have to talk to. So I think this is it was my first point of start.
Yeah.
And Laura, I guess you wanted to share some thoughts as well here on the tips. And also if you want to share some books and websites besides the tips on how to start working with service design, that's also a very valid input.
I think Dana wanted also to share maybe.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
go on, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I would say ladies first, but
Exactly, ladies first, and I'm like, oh.
Go ahead, Dana.
So, okay. I'd say don't be shy. Reach out people on LinkedIn, but when you send a connection request, put a brief message saying who you are and what would you like to, because people are open to help, but they need some indications of what you are looking for, what kind of help you're looking for. And the other thing is go to service design drinks, as Martina is and Claudia, they are doing, or go to the service design network and any of the chapters, go and meet people, ask questions, because it's only when we ask questions to ourselves and to others is when we grow and learn and figure out what our mind is about this. And I agree with Lisa, is a mindset. So make yourself up, what is your mindset to this, and if that makes sense to you. Reach out to people. Back to you, Diana.
Yeah, but I can only agree. What I wanted to share was that, of course, you need some kind of background. For example, I studied service design, my master, so I had this kind of easy way to get a service design job. But even though I got the service design job, I wasn't really doing it because I didn't really know how to do it. And it took me a while to actually get to the point where I was actually doing it because I knew how to sell it in and so on. But my biggest development as a designer started when I actually started working close with other very good designers. And so, I mean, of course, it's nothing you can choose, but the best is to actually work with someone that can already do it. Because for me, that did the magic. I felt like I'm learning every day, and I'm just so excited every day because every day brings me new knowledge about how to pick the right methods, how to facilitate, how to do everything that service designers are doing. So yeah, that's like the perfect case scenario if you can find someone that's already doing it and know how to do it, and you can just watch and be like amazed. Yeah, that's my tips.
And websites or books, someone wants to share some references, one or two?
Mark Fontaine, for example, on YouTube has Service Design Show, has a lot of good videos that they actually discussing this about, like what is service design, how to sell service design, how to do research on different topics. Like there is like probably 100 or something videos or I think it's also on Spotify. So you can just take a walk and listen. I think that gives you a very good picture of what it is if you're getting into the field.
I'd say the Service Design Network as well. There is a lot of materials freely available. And also, I will also recommend, he was my teacher, he was my mentor, and I love him, Mark Stirdom. Any book of him, please go and read it. You will learn a lot and a ton. And he's very approachable, so you can reach him out. Amazing, amazing. So yeah, these two.
LinkedIn with a message, right?
Exactly.
Who else wants to share a good piece of knowledge?
I could maybe add that. I don't know. Do you know the book from founders of IDEO, Creative Thinking, Creative Confidence, which is about creative thinking and how utilizing it in the work. And I think all of it applies also to service design. So I think that's a good book to look into.
Creative confidence. I think it's a very broad thing that we should all deep dive in ourselves to develop and maximize.
I will say also, sorry, Good Service, that is from Lou Downey and is very brand new, and is actually it touch actually also the public sector So I will set this one.
I'm going to ask to share, wait, just one second. I will ask to share a bit more tips and recommendations. But before that, I'm just going to let everyone know that we are opening the public questions. So if you didn't wrote your questions yet, do it now, because this is the time to consolidate the knowledge and to drink from all these amazing service designers that we have here today. And go ahead, Martina, I guess it was you that would like also to share.
Yes, for me, like I would have many, but I agree with Laura. The books of Stickturn, I think they are like one of the best to start, but also like for advanced service designer, they are great. I would also add, not to be self-referential, but we wrote a book together with my colleagues, which is called Massive Co-Design. It's open access, so everyone can download it for free. Because it was funded by an European project. And there we talk about many projects where we did co-design both with citizens and different kind of stakeholders. And also one is powerful, is not very much about service design, but it's about cultural change. It has been written by the CEO, I think, of Netflix, and is a kind of like best like hot topic in the world of cultural change. That's it.
Thank you.
There is an additional source of knowledge that is Medium. There's a lot of articles, and really good articles written by people that we don't know. So be an explorer and go ahead. Of course, start with these ones, with these key references, these key organizations. But once you get a little idea of what are the key topics that you're interested about, go to Medium, because there you will find, besides more knowledge, best practices, examples, and the pains that people went through. So you can learn also a lot from there.
A lot of practical examples told in the first person, right? Yeah. Okay, we are now moving on to the public questions, our audience. We have here Thalen Zarmanian. Can you describe what your dream project would be? Not the matter of it, but the way the company would approach it, the way it would support you and give you feedback. So now it's the time to imagine the perfect world. Who wants to grab the perfect world?
I can start. I was at the peak of my career, and then I resigned and to start my own startup. So right now I'm working on what I love and what I'm passionate about, which is tackling climate change at scale and fast. And I want to do it very simple for families, cities, and particularly children. So my dream project is a piece of lemon cake. I use design, circular economy, urban mining, and nature-based solutions to tackle climate change. And there is one initiative that I'm starting right now that is called Green City Makers, which is for the purpose to citizens engage with helping the city tackling climate change by watering urban trees. It's a very simple thing. It's a very simple behavior. Most of the people, when they are walking on the street, they bring with them a bottle of water. What I am asking to them is, please pour your bottle of water when you are going back home, or going to the school, or going to the gym, or go to the work where you can refill. Before that, put that bottle of water in one of the urban trees. So it has different flavors, different perspectives. The reward comes when you see the reaction. I don't know, but I can tell you, maybe I'm not rich. I'm really not, but this is the time of my life that I'm the happiest and that I'm smiling the most to the computer and to this screen that we are all in now. I hope that answers you, Tallinn.
That's definitely a very interesting approach and experience. We have here as well Notario. Would you say service design remains a team discipline in practice, or have you had to work as the only designers in the organizations? Who would like to?
I would like to take that one.
Go, Dana.
Service design is really a team discipline. Alone as a service designer, you can't do anything. I think there is also misconception that like, okay, we need to design a service. Let's get a service designer that will do that for us. In reality, it's not like that. So service designer is usually a professional hand when it comes to user research and like getting really to the real crucial problem and communicating it. Then the rest is the teamwork. So okay, the user wants this, but what's behind? What kind of possibilities do we have? Like, are there rules from the government? Are there technical things we need to tackle to solve this? So, a service designer can't anything about, it's not a lawyer. He's not, some kind of technical architect. He doesn't even sometimes, like, I don't really know the rules of the organization or how the existing processes are. So service designers are kind of putting all them together, those people, very knowledgeable people, finding the common language and working together with them. So as a service designer, I won't change the world, but together with others, sure, why not?
Thank you, Dana. And I would say even in the research part, it's interesting to bring some of those people because it can be mind-blowing and mind-changing in some points.
Definitely.
Does someone else wants to answer this question in terms of the vision of the collaboration part, the team practice around the process? It's the same question we are seeing here. So
I can add something here. I had to work as the only designer in my organization. Not the only designer, but the only service designer. And I totally agree that like it's much harder. You can do much because you always have, even if you're the only service designers, you need to have the ability to connect the other ones to your project. So you can't hold the project by yourself. I think that's impossible. You can be the only service designer, but you're not going to have an easy time because you always have to take the others from their own positions and put in your position, to join everybody, to make the workshops, to ask questions, to get feedbacks. So I think that's not it's not a great position to be lonely on this job.
And if you are the only one, sometimes besides the collaboration, it might be challenging to give a vision and a clear perception of what's the challenges and what's the roles, what are you trying to do there, right? Because besides the actual work, and you are a one lady show,
Yeah,
you would have to present and report and give transparency to what you are actually doing and the challenges that you are facing, right?
Yes, and more than have to do research by yourself. You don't have all the hands you need, You have to make the appointment, you have to film, you have to understand what people are saying. So I would say that at least in pairs, it would be great to work with, because by yourself, it's really a lot of material to digest, to process, and we don't have hands enough, I think.
Can imagine. I would like to ask everyone to do a hand-shaped heart. I don't know if you know this South Korean art. We will take a group picture now. We don't have all the volunteers from all the cities, but at least for the participants, you know this. This is a South Korean heart. But let's like this. It's a double heart, actually. You can see the heart here with the fingers, and that with all your hands, it's like the form and the shape of a fulfilled heart. So I do not know the full story. I promised to research about it, but now I guess we can all smile and we can take a picture of ourselves. Thank you very much, everyone. I guess this is all the questions we have from our audience. I hope it was a pleasant moment for everyone. I do know that, at least for me, it was a pleasure to listen to you all and to share this knowledge and experiences and different points of view, even though with a very shared reality and sensibility. I would like to say also that we have been doing a raffle of a sketch license, and if to the ones that participated, this is the moment that we are going to announce the winners. I'm not fully sure if we are totally ready to share the results. Okay, we have here Mariana. I will pass the word to Mariana.
I just came back. Thank you, everyone, for your time. It was amazing, an amazing conversation, and I think everyone had received great tips from you guys. So thank you very much. So now I would like to announce the two winners for our sketch licenses. So one is Amanda Falth. I'm not sure if I'm spelling your name, but you're going to receive your email anyway. And Raquel Miller. So I'm going to write you on your email, and then this week you're going to receive an official email from the sketch team. So that's it. Thank you, everyone. Actually, we have another question. I don't know if you want to answer for like the last question.
Bring it on.
Are you up to?
Yes.
And then thank you very much. I will be on the backstage again.
I think the question is right after this one. Yeah, exactly. It's Elsa C, and if we had to define, she has been struggling with doing a project B2B after doing many projects B2C. And we had to define a new business model for the client, which is working in a domain we were not acquaintance with. Have you ever faced challenges and see differences while doing a project B2B? So
I can jump on that.
Go ahead, Laura.
Before moving to Portugal, my work was basically to the government, social startups. So pretty much B2C or B2E, or B2C by being citizen, never B2B. And when I came here to Lisbon, I worked with a startup. It's a Portuguese unicorn, and it's B2B. They have a platform, and they sell the platform. And that was, oh my God, a hell of a ride, because you don't have one person, you have a company. You're selling to another company. And that company that you're selling your product have a different culture, hierarchy that you need to understand. How do they work? So all of a sudden, the buying journey, so to say, is not one person, is maybe 20, 30 people with different roles that interact in the buying process at different times with different functions, which none of them are visible to you. I mean, I was put to my limit, not only from that perspective to really grasp the reality, but also how to really understand the reality and make it very simple for C-level to understand it as well. So I had to be really to get rid of, unfortunately, of these fantastic research methods that are qualitative and really go very quantitative, analyzing backlogs, all type of data, which is so hard and so boring for us, right? Hours and hours on an Excel, but it really worked for the purpose to understand and really build personas with B2B, which is kind of surprising, but we will prospect taxonomy according to the behavior they express to the buying journey, with this plurality of people involved. So in this case, I would say that more than qualitative, it will take too long to understand, and you will get lost. Go data. Your best friend for this is the IT people. Yeah, I hope it helps, Elsa. And good luck.
I like the summary in the end. Your best friend, the IT people. And a lot of quantitative and data. Yeah, that's a good insight as well to share. Okay, I hope that helps also. Best of luck in that challenge. It's always a good journey. Someone else wants to share something to the end? I guess this is it. We are ending our session, our talk today. Thank you all very much. It was a true pleasure to meet you all. And I hope to find you in person as well in a moment where that's possible. And I would say bye-bye now.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
And happy
Ciao.
Service
Thank you.
Design Day.
Obrigada.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Obrigada.
Ciao.